Hi, I'm Paul Terpstra with Klover Products, and today I want to demonstrate the setup of the Klover Box microphone enclosure. This is the 26-inch, the larger version of the enclosure. It is able to support and enclose the 26-inch Klover mic, the 16-inch Klover mic, as well as our competition. And I'll demonstrate how to mount all three. As you can see, the padded panels are removed. I'll show you shortly how to install those. This is the bare frame, so if you're changing colors from one panel color to another, this is what you will have when the panels are removed. The first step in setting up the enclosure is to remove the front grid that you see here. The front grid is held in place by this aluminum extrusion, and the first step to removing the aluminum extrusion is to loosen the top adjuster, and the top adjuster is held in place with a plate with two 6mm socket head cap screws. So I'm using a 5mm Allen end wrench. A 3/16 wrench will do in a pinch, but the metric is always better. So now the adjuster is free to move, free to be slid rearward, and now we'll remove the extrusion itself. These are held in with metric bolts, T-nuts, or T-bolts rather, and you use a 13mm socket to loosen the T-bolts. Again, the English equivalent can be used in a pinch. There are two brackets that hold the extrusion in place. Those are removed, and then the upper extrusion slides right out. Once the extrusion is off, the grid or mesh is free to be removed. It's not normally this tight. And once the wire mesh is removed, you have full access to the mounting plate of the enclosure. This mounting plate, as I mentioned earlier, can accommodate the Klover mic 26-inch parabolic microphone, the Klover mic 16-inch parabolic microphone, and also our competition. I'll begin with the Klover mic 26, which is the most straightforward. This is the Klover mic 26-inch parabolic microphone, and as you can see, we have the four quick release connectors that match up with the four quick release connectors on the mounting panel. So the microphone can be slipped into place into the frame. And once the microphone is in place, the connectors will snap into place. If they don't snap, you can turn the male connector that's on the parabolic. It also, this process is much easier to do with the panels removed, as you can reach in from the side. And now we'll connect the final connector, and now the microphone is mounted. Obviously it is much easier to adjust or focus the microphone before it is installed into the extrusion. So at this point, for a Klover mic 26, the front mesh could be reinstalled, and the aluminum extrusion, and then the outside panels. Now we will install the Klover mic 16. So we'll begin by removing the 26-inch parabolic. Again, this process is considerably easier with the panels removed. With the 16-inch Klover mic, there is an adapter plate, as you can see, and this adapter plate has the 4 quick release connectors as the 26-inch did, and then 3 more quick release connectors to install the Klover mic 16-inch. As you will notice, the box is actually upside down right now, so the handle should be pointing down when you install it. This, I already have the Klover mic 16 installed on the adapter plate. Again, it is much easier to do that outside of the enclosure. It's also much easier to focus your microphone before it is installed into the enclosure. So we'll bring the Klover mic and the adjuster plate from behind and get it into location. And now we have the top 2, and there are the bottom 2. So again, at this point, the Klover mic 16 is in place. It can be, the front panel, the front mesh can be put back in place. The upper extrusion can be put back in place, and then it'll be ready for the padded panels. We will not go through that step at this point. Now we'll remove this Klover mic 16 and the adapter plate. This obviously is a copy of our competitor's parabolic microphone. The extrusion is capable of supporting and mounting the competitor, and we'll show you that now. With the competitor, there are 4 hex rods with tapped holes, and we use those tapped holes to use thumb screws to mount the parabolic, just like you were mounting it on their normal handles. In this case, you'll want to start the thumb screws, which are supplied one at a time. And because the microphone is actually resting against the support plate, you do not want to tighten the screws all the way down until all 4 screws are in place. Once all 4 screws are in place, then you can tighten them down equally until the parabolic dish is tight against the mounting plate. Again, it is much easier to have the microphone focused before the dish is installed in the enclosure. At this point, we'll put the enclosure back together. We'll begin by sliding the adjuster through the rear plate. Then we will put the front mesh back into the extrusion. As you will notice, there are cutouts in the mesh for aiming the dish. You want to make sure that the single cutout is at the top when the enclosure is upside down, so it actually ends up on the bottom. At this point, once the mesh is in place, you can install the extrusion. Once the extrusion is in place, you can put the locating bracket back in place. These are a little unwieldy as the T-bolts are loose, but it is usually easiest to put both T-nuts in place and then finger tighten one T-bolt at a time, and then the process is repeated for the other side. Again, the T-bolts are installed in the die-cast bracket and placed into the slots of the extrusion. And once the bolts are in place, they are finger tightened. Do notice that the T-bolts have to be rotated properly to go into the slot, and if they are too tight, they will not be able to rotate into position once they're inside the slot. So you need to work with that T-bolt just a little bit. Once you've finger tightened the brackets, again, a 13mm socket or wrench will tighten them up. They do not need to be extremely tight, as we're not putting a significant load on the screws. Once the extrusion is in place, the adjuster is pulled back into position, and again the T-bolts are slid into the extrusion and rotated. The nuts rotate into the slot so that they can be tightened down. Once again, we'll use a 5mm Allen wrench to tighten the plate to the structure. And at that point, this frame is ready to use, ready to be put into place. The panels, the padded panels, mount to the 4 holes in each corner bracket. So there are 4 1/4-20 screws that will attach the side panel. Another side panel on the opposite side, and once we rotate it over, there'll be a side panel on the top. I prefer to put the side panels on first with the enclosure upside down so that we can make sure that the panel is at flush or below with the bottom of the extrusion. So when it is sitting on the field, the extrusion is actually resting on the ground and not the padded panels. That pretty much demonstrates the setup and assembly of the Klover Box microphone enclosure. If you have questions, please feel free to call us at the number on our website, and we will help you as any way we can. Thank you.